table grapes. And our latest data from the USDA is suggesting 27.4 million tonnes projected to be produced in 2022-23 season. That's up about 4% on last year. And about 4.7 million tonnes gross traded in 2022, down about 1% on last year, so very, very similar overall. If we have a quick look at the production, Asia is the largest producer, particularly China and also India, producing 15.7 million tonnes, or 57% of global production. Middle East, North Africa, mostly Turkey and Iran, producing 3.7 million tonnes, that's almost 13% higher. Spain, Italy and Greece are the main suppliers in Europe, producing just under 1.7 million tonnes. In North America, it's the US and Mexico combined produce about 1.2 million tonnes, while in South America, the big players are Peru, Chile and Brazil, combined producing 2.9 million tonnes, very similar to last year. Southern Africa, mainly South Africa, producing about 400,000 tonnes, down 7%, while Australia and New Zealand, or mostly Australia, producing 200,000 tonnes, up 16% on the previous year. The Southern Hemisphere produced about 14% of the global supply and exports and trades 34%. Peru and Chile being the largest combined, that's about 1.2 million tonnes exported. Half of that is going to North America, and around 20% each to Europe and to Asia combined, and the remainder staying in Latin America. To South Africa, it's 78% of their 400,000 tonnes goes to Europe, and less than 10% each to Asia and North America, and the remainder staying within the area. Australia exported 118,000 tonnes, that's 9% down, and 94% of that is to Asia and the remainder to the Middle East and also New Zealand. Looking to the Northern Hemisphere trade, which is quite a different pattern because a lot of the fruit does not move very far. The United States, for example, sends almost half to Canada. There are a lot more to Latin America and about 20% across to Asia. Spain and Italy are the largest exporters within Europe, and all their trade is within the European area, and that doesn't include the Netherlands, which is another 500,000 tonnes of mostly re-exported fruit. Turkey is exporting 88% of their 220,000 tonnes to Europe and the CIS area, though the CIS would be receiving more than Europe at the moment. India is exporting 31% to Europe, 38% to Asia. China is the largest exporter in Asia. 377,000 tonnes is almost all within the Asian region. Turning now to those Asian trade flows, overall trade into Asia is up 5% on 2022 versus 21, with China, as I just mentioned, 377,000 tonnes to other areas within Asia. India is up 33% into trade into Asia specifically. The United States trade to Asia is down 20%. We'll see more of that in a moment. To the Southern Hemisphere, it's Chile, Australia and Peru are the main suppliers. Chile is down 1%, Australia is down 10%, while Peru is just short of 100,000 tonnes and up 26%. South Africa is down 2% and smaller volumes. Now, just a few minutes to look at the individual markets that are importing. China, not only the world's largest producer and exporter and also importer as well in Asia, 180,000 tonnes imported. Almost all, 98%, is coming from the Southern Hemisphere because of their production in the Northern Hemisphere. They don't have the counter-seasonal supply to import. The imports are tracking down, so no doubt there is some COVID-related issues there. Peru is the only market that is increasing steadily. All other suppliers from the south and also the US, which is less than 1,000 tonnes, is considerably down on last year. Looking at Vietnam, 139,000 tonnes, dominated by China, 73% coming in from China. Southern Hemisphere counter-seasonal suppliers are around 20% and increasing steadily, with Australia up 93% last year. Peru is up 169%. Off smaller bases, but steadily increasing. South Africa is up 52% into Vietnam. Certainly a COVID impact last year and bounced again in 2022. To Thailand, even more dominant by the China supply, 88% from China. Southern suppliers is about 8% of supply, and they've actually been decreasing over the last 5 years by about 8% per year. Certainly there was a COVID impact there, and the trade has bounced, but it's mostly all China related there. We can see here for Indonesia, 62% has come from China. Australia is the main southern supplier with about 21% share overall, and Chile is 9%, and small volumes from Peru as well. To the smaller markets, say of Japan, is importing 33,000 tonnes. They have their own in-season supply, but is supplemented by the US. The US supply has been steadily decreasing over the last few years. 68% of Japan's imports are coming from the Southern Hemisphere. There appears to be COVID impact, particularly from the trade from the US has been impacted by COVID as well. The southern supplies has been fairly steady over the last few years. South Korea has a higher level of production, and they are importing 85% from the Southern Hemisphere. Overall, 40,000 tonnes imported. Chile is down. Peru has increased, and Australia has increased steadily since its access was gained, but fell away about 12% by last year. The US does supplement the in-season supply, but is down 50% last year. I could go on with a lot of other markets, of course, but just a summary there. The production countries, China, South Korea and India and Japan, plus the imports, minus exports, gives you a per consumption per market divided into the population. Still shows that China is the largest consumer of table grapes at 8.7 kilos per person. South Korea is around 4, which is similar to other large markets for consumption of table grapes per capita. Interesting though, the tropical markets, particularly Indonesia and Philippines, have fairly low rate of consumption. They are importing everything, and there's certainly room for growth opportunities there. But Japan is interesting too at 0.64. They have their own production, but the per capita consumption there is quite low. So that's a summary of the table grapes into Asia.